Have you ever felt busy all day, but still felt like your life was not really moving in the right direction? Have you ever wanted to become more disciplined, more focused, and more effective, but did not know where to begin? If that sounds familiar, then The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey is one of the most important self-improvement books you can read. This book is not about shortcuts. It is not about motivation tricks. And it is not about looking successful on the outside. Instead, it teaches a deeper idea. Real effectiveness begins with character. According to Stephen Covey, true success is built on principles. Not just techniques. Not just productivity tools. But habits that shape the way you think, act, and relate to others. In this video, I will summarize the most important ideas from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People in a simple and practical way. Let's begin. 1. Be proactive. The first habit is be proactive. This means taking responsibility for your life. Covey explains that many people live reactively. They blame circumstances. They blame other people. They blame their mood, their past, or the environment. They say things like, "I can't help it. That's just how I am. My situation is the problem." But proactive people think differently. They understand that while they cannot control everything, they can control their response. This is a very powerful shift. Between what happens to you and how you respond, there is a space. And in that space, you have choice. That means you do not have to let emotion control every action. You do not have to become a victim of every problem. You can choose your attitude. You can choose your behavior. You can choose your next step. Being proactive does not mean pretending life is easy. It means accepting that your response matters. It means focusing on what you can influence, instead of wasting energy on things you cannot control. This first habit is the foundation of the whole book. Because if you do not take responsibility for your life, real change becomes very difficult. 2. Begin with the end in mind. The second habit is begin with the end in mind. This means living with direction and purpose. Covey says many people are active, but not intentional. They work hard, but they do not stop to ask, where is this going? What kind of life am I building? What really matters to me? This habit asks you to think long-term. Before you plan your week, your goals, or your career, you should first ask a deeper question. What kind of person do I want to become? Covey encourages readers to imagine the end of their life and ask, what do I want people to remember about me? What values do I want to live by? What really matters most? This is not meant to be dramatic. It is meant to be clarifying. When you know your values, your decisions become clearer. You stop chasing every opportunity. You stop saying yes to everything. And you begin to build a life that matches your principles. This habit is about vision. It reminds us that effectiveness is not just about doing more things. It is about doing the right things for the right reasons. 3. Put first things first. The third habit is put first things first. This is where vision becomes action. Once you know what matters, the next step is to organize your life around it. This sounds simple, but it is where many people struggle. Why? Because life is full of urgent things. Messages, deadlines, meetings, distractions, requests, and interruptions. And when everything feels urgent, truly important things get ignored. Covey explains that effective people learn to focus on what is important, not only what is urgent. Important things include planning, learning, building relationships, taking care of your health, working on meaningful goals, personal growth. These are the things that improve life in the long term. But because they are not always urgent, many people delay them. Then later, they wonder why they feel stuck. This habit teaches that discipline means choosing what matters most, even when something else is louder. In other words, do not let urgency control your life. Let priority control it. This is one of the most practical habits in the book. Because a good life is often built by protecting important things before they become emergencies. 4. Think win-win. The fourth habit is think win-win. This habit moves from personal success to success with others. Covey explains that many people think in unhealthy ways when dealing with relationships or business. Some think, if I win, you lose. That is win-lose thinking. Others think, if you win, I lose. That is lose-win thinking. Some people even become so frustrated that they think, if I lose, I want you to lose too. That is lose-lose thinking. But highly effective people aim for something better. Win-win. Win-win means seeking outcomes where both sides benefit. It comes from a mindset of abundance. This means believing that there is enough success, respect, opportunity, and value for more than one person. People with a scarcity mindset think everything is limited. They compare constantly. They feel threatened by other people's success. But people with an abundance mindset look for mutual benefit. This does not mean pleasing everyone. And it does not mean saying yes to everything. It means respecting yourself and respecting others at the same time. This habit is powerful in work, family, friendship, and leadership. Because strong relationships are rarely built on selfish victory. They are built on trust, fairness, and mutual value. 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. The fifth habit is seek first to understand, then to be understood. This is one of the most important habits for communication. Most people listen with the intention to reply, not with the intention to understand. They interrupt. They compare. They assume. They prepare their answer while the other person is still speaking. As a result, people often feel unheard. Covey teaches that effective communication begins with real listening. This means listening carefully, trying to understand emotions, understanding the other person's point of view, and showing genuine respect. This kind of listening is called empathetic listening. It does not mean agreeing with everything. It means understanding before judging. This habit is powerful because people open up more when they feel understood. And once you truly understand someone, your own words become more effective too. So the order matters. First, understand. Then, explain yourself. This can improve relationships, reduce conflict, and create trust. And in many situations, being deeply understood matters more than having the perfect argument. 6. Synergize. The sixth habit is synergize. This means working together in a way that creates something better than either person could create alone. Covey explains that synergy happens when people value differences instead of fearing them. Many people struggle with differences. They want others to think like them, work like them, and agree with them. But effective people understand that different perspectives can be a strength. When people bring different experiences, talents, and ideas together with mutual respect, the result can be better than one person's opinion alone. That is synergy. It is not just cooperation. It is creative cooperation. It means listening openly, respecting differences, staying humble, and being willing to create a better solution together. This habit is important because life is not meant to be lived in isolation. In families, teams, businesses, and communities, the ability to create together matters. And often, growth happens when you stop trying to control every difference and start learning from it. 7. Sharpen the saw. The seventh habit is sharpen the saw. This means renewing yourself regularly. Covey says that effectiveness is not only about action. It is also about renewal. If you never rest, never reflect, never learn, and never take care of yourself, your effectiveness will slowly decline. He divides renewal into 4 areas. Physical. Taking care of your body through movement, rest, sleep, health. Mental. Developing your mind through reading, learning, writing, thinking. Emotional and social. Building healthy relationships through kindness, listening, service, connection. Spiritual. Connecting with deeper values through reflection, prayer, meditation, purpose, inner peace. This habit is important because many people try to stay effective while constantly exhausted. They keep working harder without renewing themselves. But eventually, they lose energy, clarity, and balance. Sharpening the saw means stepping back so you can come back stronger. It means investing in the part of you that makes all other habits possible. 8. The inside-out principle. One of the deepest ideas in this book is what Covey calls the inside-out approach. This means that lasting improvement begins inside. Many people want external success. Better career. Better relationships. More influence. More respect. But they try to achieve these things only with outside techniques. Covey argues that this is not enough. True effectiveness starts with character, values, integrity, discipline, and principles. In other words, private victory comes before public victory. This means you first learn to manage yourself. Before trying to lead others, you first become responsible. Before demanding change from the world, you first align your life with principles. Before expecting lasting success. This idea is what makes the book more than a productivity guide. It is really a book about personal transformation. 9. Effectiveness is not about doing more. Many people think effectiveness means speed, busyness, and achievement. But Covey gives a more balanced definition. To be effective is not just to produce results. It is to produce results in a sustainable way. He uses a simple example. Imagine a person who owns a goose that lays golden eggs. If they only focus on collecting eggs, but fail to care for the goose, they will eventually lose both. This means effectiveness must include both production and the ability to keep producing. In real life, this means success and health, productivity and relationships, goals and character, achievement and renewal. If success destroys your peace, your health, or your integrity, then something is wrong. True effectiveness is balanced. It creates results without destroying the person who creates them. Conclusion. So what is the main message of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? It is this. A successful life is built on principles, character, and the habits that shape how you live every day. This book teaches us to take responsibility, live with purpose, focus on priorities, build healthy relationships, listen deeply, value cooperation, and renew ourselves regularly. These habits are not quick tricks. They are deep principles. And that is why this book remains powerful even after many years. Because real effectiveness is not about looking productive. It is about becoming the kind of person who can build a meaningful, balanced, and principled life. The 7 Habits teaches that real success begins inside and grows through the habits you practice every day.